How's it going, guys? Westgate with Intentional Fitness here, and because I was already doing this program for a football team up in Wisconsin, I decided to put this video together to go over some drills to go through for each position group in order to get you more prepared for your upcoming seasons. First up, we have the wide receiver shift drill. This drill teaches us to get our pad level lower and to square up our feet so that we can get our feet outside of the defender's base. The towels are there to force you to shift your whole body over and actually sell the move so you can get the DB out of his back pedal. Next up, we have the dip and rip drill. This drill is pretty self-explanatory. Usually you would use a hula hoop or something like that, but you can use cones or a setup like I have here. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're getting out of your stance, you're dipping that shoulder down, not giving the offensive lineman a whole lot of surface area to actually make contact with you so that you can dip that shoulder down and get around the edge. Next, we have the kneeling lateral starts. This is going to help us with our lateral acceleration by strengthening the muscles incorporated with it. This is also going to allow us to be able to play sideline to sideline and not just be an interior linebacker. In addition to that, it can also help with our 5-10-5 or 20-yard shuttle drill with acceleration and deceleration through the entire drill. Next up, for all positions, are power step-ups. This is imperative if you're wanting to get faster or stronger. It basically takes us from a dead stop and then immediately incorporates speed and power. Knee up, toe up. Next up, for running backs and linebackers, are our power sprints. This is going to help us drive through the hips and actually shoot our hands out and also follow through with the sprint phase. It's going to help us with our acceleration by putting us in a disadvantageous position from the start. For my dogs and hogs, kneeling power toss. This is going to teach us to drive through our hips and explode. You want a heavier ball than this. All I had was a 20, but you're going to want a 50 or above. Next up is our hand striking. Start off with tennis balls, move to golf balls, and then move up to softballs. Essentially what we're doing here is we're just switching from hand to hand, and if we drop the ball, we are starting over. And the goal is to get 100 strikes with each hand before you have to start over. The tennis ball versus golf ball versus softball is basically just the size of the ball. It changes your hand-eye coordination a little bit. It also allows us to make sure that we're striking and grabbing, especially for our D-line and offensive line. Next up, we have tennis ball breaks for our DBs. This one's pretty simple. Basically, you're going to toss the tennis ball up, start your back pedal. As soon as the ball hits the ground, you're trying to drive forward and catch that tennis ball before it hits on its second bounce. You're not in a hurry to get back. It's an easy go. It's more just to get you out of your break. Back to my hogs with the banded kickbacks. Here I actually have one of my clients doing this for us. He's a 17-year-old offensive guard. Basically what we're doing here is we're trying to anchor it low so that we're actually driving that hip back. Work on your angle, making sure you're not taking false steps, keeping our eyes and our hands disciplined as well, and making sure that we're not having any sort of lean in one shoulder or the other is very important. There's ways to make this a little bit more difficult, a little more challenging, and you'll see that coming up here shortly. But in the beginning, you're wanting to hit both sides equally because obviously you do kick back to both sides no matter which side of the offensive line you play. For our interior offensive linemen, banded half bench. This will help you be able to help on double teams while also allowing you to keep your eyes disciplined. The main focus here is making sure that that elbow stays tight and it doesn't bow out really wide. That's going to help us prevent shoulder injuries, particularly like dislocations and things like that, which this particular client had an issue with last season, which is why we're training it. Next drill is a 2 feet each hole, 1 cut drill. Couldn't come up with a better name for it. Essentially right here, we're trying to work on our suddenness. The ladder is not there for you to go through cleanly. It's there to slow your feet down, so you're actually having to go from fast to slow. Next up is our banded pocket weave. Guys, I want to start off by saying that I do not play quarterback. I never did. But this is essentially the way that I would train it, is to sit there and have them go through that pocket, keep their eyes downfield, finish with a throw of some sort, and also have that banded resistance throughout. Running backs and linebackers, this rotational box jump is huge for you because you have to be able to be explosive in all planes of motion, meaning you're explosive laterally, forward, horizontal, all of that fun stuff. This drill really incorporates that. Kneeling overhead banded kickbacks, a PVC pipe, a broomstick, a band, and somewhere to anchor low to. This will help us work on our angles, work on keeping our pads low and our chest up, and making sure that we're getting that kickback properly. The heel over run is essentially for skill positions. Guys, if you're struggling with getting into your stride or you're a short strider, this will help you. It's essentially a high knee butt kick. You gradually expand that space so that you're opening your stride more and more each time you go through. This drill's pretty simple. You run over the bags and then you finish with a cut move somewhere. This is basically training you to make a cut in the secondary after you've gotten past the first level. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, like, subscribe. Stay tuned for more in the future.